Hello everybody, today I'm going to read The SunDowners by Wendy Wolf. The SunDowners, Night of the Omen by Wendy Wolf. Dedications. As with all mythical legends and mysteries, there is a sense of excitement or dread. Something happens, nobody expected it, but there it is, unbound like the springs of a broken clock, waiting to be understood, pondered, so. Sometimes the mystery is in our own world, sometimes another. These stories will draw back the curtains of other times, of mythical origins, ancient and dusty mystery that call out from beyond, adventuresome and still relevant. And as with all mysteries, there will be secrets unveiled, Easter eggs to find, so to speak. All of you have known me a few years now. You who are following me, and I decided to unveil my own secret by my real name. It is true, Wendy Wolf is a pen name, a brand, as you may have guessed. So somewhere hidden within the veils of this story, I have revealed my real name. It is a little Easter egg for you, the readers, a little gift I've wanted to share for a while. Will you uncover it? I'm hoping you will, because all good mysteries are layered with possibilities. As I go by my brand name, but let's have some fun. Dedication is dedicated to me, Red Fox, the Firefox now, and for Augie Green, 27, who was single handedly read this entire book in one day. You made the phoenix rise. Oh, let's read the book in one day. I want to read this book in one day. Let's go, guys. Recently, I posted a question book, and many of you responded. It was a pole of sword. And I heard one word from several of you, mystery. I'm dedicating this book to you. It's already evolved into a mini series, and I cannot wait to bring them forward. Special thanks to Olivia Benetti, Raven Dippity, Aztecs Souls 037, Wesley Brooks, Tanny Mish 7. There was at least one other, and when they came forward with their username, I held them. In the excitement stage of getting started, I deleted the book and I lost your name. So let me know if you want to be added. P.S. I believe I found all you in my email notif. Cool. As some of you know, I'm an older Wattpad writer. I don't try to make it about me. I want to entertain my followers and readers. I have been writing for years on end, more than some of you have been alive. That being said, I have stories galore, sketch out everywhere, Google Docs, Microsoft Word, Android, Notepad, Spiral Notebooks, Clipboard. The list goes on and on. And when I find Wattpad, my mind was blown because I knew I finally found a place to share them. This is one of the many ideas I had others, as you know, but I decided I wanted to hear from you, the reader. That's why I'm here after all. This is first of four, maybe five novellas of mystery myths. I truly hope from the bottom of my heart you'll enjoy them. Your voice counts in Wattpad world. Your voice or your way of thinking the readers on Wattpad. Please consider showing it by typing a story at the end of a chapter. It is greatly appreciated. Sincerely, Wendy Wolf. Night of the Omen. Chapters, vignettes. We were just regular people. Yeah, that's me, Atlas. Just super groovy guy on his way to superstardom. Does my name ring a bell? It should because it's by far the coolest name for a rock dome ever. I mean, come on, Atlas just rolls off the tongue like nobody's ever. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So yeah, I was just minding my business when it happened. But it means no, because all of this is his fault. I was just about to play my biggest gig ever in Goa. I just stepped off the train in Jaipur, India. Oh, it was gonna be one bloody epic night until it wasn't. Noi nails to the rescue. Of course, they'll blame me, but it wasn't my fault. Can I help it if I'm just that sexy, irresistible, larger than life, Indiana Jones type? I mean, can I help it if mayhem follows me? I was just trying to write an article for Antiques Weekly. I'm Valley, with only 2 years of college on my resume. I decided it would be smart to add some real experience, so I got a teaching certificate and took a job overseas to teach little kids English. Thought, why not? My first assignment, Jaipur, India. Okay, so is that necessary to say I never quite made it to teach class? I hope my students see this on 5 o'clock news. Is it too late to say the dog ate my homework? Katia, here folks, I'm a loud-mouthy content provider. Who cares? Only my 100,000 subscribers. Because I'm that good. I recently completed a trek across Europe, a YouTube series how to live out of the suitcase for a year while hiking across Europe. They said it was way too dangerous for a girl alone, but hey, I gotta give my viewers what they want. I found it to be mostly safe, in my humble opinion. Now on to see India. I hear it a mystical place. Everything was golden until I disembarked in Jewelry Pure. Pretty sure my content is going to be changing. The sun, the SunDowners, our family photo album, we put it together ourselves because who is ever going to believe it? Because that's who we are now. Awards and shoutouts won. The Moonlight Trove Award hosted by Estania Community. Judge, Writing for the Living. Moonlight Trove, Estania Awards 2025, second place. Thank you to these wonderful hosts for their hard work and all the judges for their time and feedback. Do check out work profiles and give them a follow. Number 1, Jaipur. The night smell of rain, sandalwood, and secret mesmerizing enigma filled music lilting in oud wafted on the air, oddly soft, hypnotic, even it lulled the sense of its audience. Travelers from near and afar joined them into the heady enchantment of India's humid night. Somewhere beyond the saffron lit streets and excited incense mystery lurk, the ones attached to ancient omens. And four strangers bound by an accident of fate were walking straight into their clutches. They didn't know it yet, but the world had been waiting for them far longer than they'd been alive. They would become known as the SunDowners. The Jaipur train station posed like a living thing. Lantern lights flicker against stone walls, vendors shouting in over a dozen languages, the rhythmic clang of metal wheels rolling across worn tracks. It was chaotic, crowded, and yet when they arrived, time faltered. Atlas Archer noticed it first. He had a way of noticing things like how the heat clung to his collarbone or how the air here seems too heavy for the evening. He adjusted his glasses for ninth time. The humidity was suffocating. His fingers still smelled faintly of guitar string wax from the airport lounge back in London. He was supposed to be on his way to small gig in Goa, not whatever this was. Valley Val pressed through the crowd, her suitcase bumping against her knee. She'd been traveling for over 20 hours now with several layovers before she even got to her train just to reach her new job. Soon she would be teaching English to children, and here in the middle of a station where no one knew her name, she was feeling it. That subtle, unnerving pull of jet lag. It was just jet lag, right? Noy now hopped off the train and sprinted to the crowd, muttering the station's Hindi name under his breath, like reciting it might help him make sense of the edge at the base of his spine. He told himself this trip was for research. It was important for him if he really wanted this article for Antiques Weekly to feel real. And Kay Kate, fearless traveler for her YouTube channel who didn't believe in omens, had just spent a year trekking across Europe. Joe stopped dead in her tracks when she saw the other three. She didn't know them, but in the hush that felt between heartbeats, it felt like she had. Because somewhere far beyond the train station, in a red tile roof temple with a highly shining gold exterior covered with carvings, a place older than memory bells began to ring. The sound echoed through the night like an omen. Then she saw it. It sat on a low stone pedestal near the station's far wall, almost out of sight. A blackened relic the size of a child's skull carved with spiraling symbols that didn't belong to any language. It shouldn't have been there, not in the middle of a railway platform, not where chai sellers and beggars and porters brushed by without even seeing it. But the four of them did. Drawn by something deeper than curiosity, they stepped closer one by one until they were standing in a loose circle around it. Atlas reached out first, stopping just short of touching the surface. He pushed his glasses up again. "This feels wrong," he murmured, though his voice sounded like awe. "It's not wrong," Noe's voice surprised them all, especially himself. He crouched close to the object, realizing it didn't just look like a skull, it was a skull. "It's old," he whispered, "really old. Pre-Vedic, maybe even older." He glanced at the other, swallowing the lump in his throat. "You know what they say about Jaipur, right? This city sits on a bone of older cities. They say there was a whole other world buried under this one." "Yeah, well," Katie said, crossing her arms, "I didn't sign up for an archaeology lesson." Noe ignored her. His fingers hovered an inch above the relic. This wasn't meant to be here. Not now. Not in this world. Before anyone could answer, the station light flickered once, twice, and then everything went dark. For a breathless instant, there was nothing but the sound of distant bells and the rising wind. Then came the tearing, a low, thunderous clap in the air, like the world itself had been split open. The station vanished. The noise of trains, the crush of people, the sweltering heat, all gone. And when they opened their eyes, they were no longer in Jaipur. The darkness didn't last long. It shattered in a single breath, replacing by blinding light, not electric, not modern, but sunlight, refracted through the jewel dome of a temple ceiling high above their heads. Gold, reds, indigo, color, too rich to exist in their century. Atlas stumbled backwards, blinking hard. His first thought was that he was dreaming. His second was that if this was a dream, it had teeth. It stood in a cavernous hall of pillars, each carved with a writhing tapestry of gods and serpents, battle and birthrights. Dust motes drifted through a shaft of sunlight like lazy ghosts. The air was warmed by heavy, laced with the smell of burned incense, blooming jasmine, and something metallic, blood, maybe, though none of them dared say it aloud. Outside, beyond the white stone archway, came a low, guttural chorus. Not machines, not trained voices, hundreds of them. A ritual chant rolling like the tide in an ancient language that sounded both alien and at achingly familiar. Noe's knees buckled. He clutched the artifacts now in his hands to his chest, trembling as the edge just pulsed faintly against his skins. This, this can, he choked off the rest because saying it aloud will make it too real. Valley took a slow step forward, running her fingers along one of the carved pillars. The grooves were warm, almost alive. I don't think we're in Jaipur anymore, she whispered, half to herself. No kidding, Kata muttered. She tilted her head toward the chanting beyond the archway. Any guess on whether those people out there are friendly? Atlas didn't answer. He couldn't. His gaze was locked on the far wall where a massive mural stretched from floor to ceiling, four figures standing shoulder to shoulder, each holding a fragment of a blackened relic identical to the one Noe clutched. Identical to one now clutching Noe's hand. His voice came out soprano and raw. Is that us? They all turned. He was right. The faces in the mirror weren't perfect matches, but the resemblance was undeniable, uncanny. Four strangers etched into the bones of a place that shouldn't even exist. Before they could breathe, the chant outside shifted louder, sharper, urgent. They had been noticed. Two, the mural. They stayed frozen. They're too overwhelmed to register it yet. The weight of a new leather on their shoulders, the tug of unfamiliar weapons at their Bells, the feel of fabric against their skin that wasn't there an hour ago. They don't yet realize they become the figure on the wall. But the revelation will soon come. For now, just silence and sheer terror until Katie finally breaks it with the only thing keeping her sane sarcasm. Fantastic, she muttered, brushing dust off her. Wait, was that armor? Anyone else want to explain why we're in a temple holding a cursed rock and apparently staring in a local artwork? Valley gave a soft, stunned laugh. Well, at least we look good. Noi didn't laugh. He clutched the relic tighter. This isn't it, he bit out more to herself than the others. This is what I've been looking for. And far beyond the archway, the chanting became a roar. Katie was the first to say what the rest of them were too ready to voice. Okay, she said, holding out her arms. Did anyone else notice that we are dressed like, I don't know, cosplayers or some medieval fair? Because I don't remember putting on, she gestured to the plaited leather strap over her chest. This. Atlas looked down at himself and for the first time noticed the weight of the lot slung over his back in a rich embroidery along the tunic. He definitely hadn't been worrying an hour ago. Yeah, he muttered, putting himself down. Pretty sure Masuki's did not include whatever this is. Belly tugged at the long golden sleeve of her own jacket, the fabric shimmering faintly under the temple light. So let me get this straight. We pass out, got kidnapped, in our couches play dress up. Kata snorted, yeah, because that's the most logical part of this situation. But no, it didn't join in. He was still at the base of the mural, staring up in the absolute silence. His hand gripped the relic tighter, fingers tracing the spiral, etching. They matched the carvings on the wall exactly. This, his voice was barely audible. This isn't random. Atlas turned toward him. What? Noy pointed to the mural. Damn, it is us. Look, he glanced back at the group, his eyes wide with his mixture of disbelief and a strange, sharp focus. This artifact, these carvings, they're not decorative. They're instructions. This is a key, and those figures, he jabbed a finger upward. They're holding pieces of it, 4 fragments, 4 barriers. Barriers of what? Valley asked. He swallowed a burden. If we're lucky. A curse, if we're not. Before anyone could respond, the chanting outside shifted. It was no longer a hum. It was summons. A raw, guttural sound that vibrated through the stones under their feet. The temperature in the room dropped sharply. The incense smoke twisted into unnatural sharps in the air. Atlas backed toward the others. Okay, that doesn't sound like a welcome parade. Kata gripped the hilt of a sword she hadn't realized she was carrying until her hand had found out it. Her stomach twisted. Yeah, that's because it isn't. Noe's breast hitched as his eyes skimmed the mirror one last time. They're not just summoning. He turned to his face. Dim. Voice trembling. They calling us. The sound outside rose to a crescendo, a roar of voices, and then silence. The kind of silence that only comes before something enters the room. The chant drew closer. It wasn't just noise anymore. It was directional. A force pressing against them, telling them without words. Still stands witnesses. Kata's breath hitched. "They're coming in here," she whispered. The four turned toward the archway as one, and for a heartbeat, time stretched. Each faced the temple of light differently. Kata's sharp defiance, Atlas wide-eyed awe, Valley trembling wonder, and Noah's stillness, cold and deliberate, as if he'd be waiting for this all his life. The chanters appear. They were draped in tattered ceremonial robes dyed deep with crimson and black that shimmered like oil in a golden light. Tall, too, to be fully human, the limbs moving in a slow, ritualistic gestures, and their faces were hidden by carved wooden masks, each depicting a different animal, jackal, serpent, bear, and leopard in their hands. They held the long curved staff, etched with the same spiraling symbols curved into noise artifacts. And the sound it roared without volume, chanting from within their chests, their very bones shaking the pillars of the temple. Noise fingers burned the look down and nearly dropped the artifact. It was glowing. No, not just glowing, alive. Its dark surface thrummed like a heart veins of gold light sputtering outward from the center. It vibrated in his palm with a heat that made his teeth rattle. He stumbled back a step, his mouth open before he knew what he was saying. The sound down you must be fulfilled. The words did not feel like his own. The glow flared, and each sound downer felt it differently. Atlas gasped as a rush of sound filled his ears. Not noise, but music, layer of voices and chords like the sky itself was singing. He clutched his head, tears springing unbidden to his eye. Belly stumbled as her skin prickled and burned, like sunlight pressing through her veins. The smell of jasmine grew stronger, wrapping her in a heady, dizzying warmth. Kira hissed, jerking her arms away from where the light had licked her skin. It felt like iron against a brand pain turning to something electric. She gritted her teeth, refusing to make a sound. In Noe, he simply froze. The voice in the chant had become word he understood. Ancient, older than Sanskrit, a language of the first time, a language of the first fires, the first prayer. "They're not coming to kill us," he whispered. "They're coming to claim us." The masked figure crossed the threshold, and in that instant, fight or flight snapped through all of them like lightning. Not staying to find out which one. Kata snarled, grabbing Valley by the arm. "Move!" They bolted. Atlas jumped noise away from the mural just as the chanters reached the center of the temple. Their staffs striking the stone floor in a perfect rhythm. The relic fought in Noe's grip, pulling him towards them, but Atlas's grip was stronger. "Run!" They tore through the side corridor, the chanting shifting into a inhuman wail as the temple behind them shook, pillars groaning like wanking giants. And somewhere in that chaos, one of the masked chanters whispered in a voice that carries like a knife through the air, "The barriers have awakened." Three secret doors. Three secret doors. The jungle swallowed them whole. One moment they were sprinting through the echoing corridors of the temple, chased by the next inhuman wail. The next they were tumbling into the green. It was humid and unrelenting, the air heavy with wet earth, rotten leaves, and perfume of flowers so sweet it bordered on the sickly. The sky above was a fractured patchwork of jade and gold sunlight filtering through leaves, the sight of shields. Birds screamed from the canopy, flashes of blue and scarlet darting overhead. Somewhere in the distance, water thundered like the heartbeat of the earth itself. Atlas staggers to a stop, bracing himself against a moss-covered trunk. This, this isn't real. This can't be. Spare me the breakdown, Katie snapped, ripping her arm free of Valley grasp. Anyone following us? Define follow. Valley voice wavered. She hadn't stopped shaking since the artifact fell because I'm pretty sure those things don't need roads. No, they didn't. No, don't need roads. No, he didn't answer. He hadn't spoken since they left the temple. His knuckles were white around the artifact. His head tilted slightly like he was listening to something they couldn't hear. Hey, Atlas said, stepping toward him. Buddy, you're alive in there? Neri blinked slowly. His lips parted. It's a map. They stare at him. What? Katie asked. He held up the relic now, humming faintly in his grip. This is not just a key, it's a map. He traced the glowing veins with his finger. Look, these spirals aren't random. They're coordinates, not like ours, but something older. In the mirror back there, it wasn't just showing us, it was showing where the other fragments are. Alice barked a laugh that sounded too close to hysteria. Oh great, so now we're on a scavenger hunt for ancient Death's Rock? Gideon glared. Do you have a better idea? Because I'm fresh out. Valley crouched in the dirt, pulling her hair back with shaking hands. Wait, if they're been guarding those fragments, then why did they just let us take this one? Why didn't kill us? They didn't want to. No, voice was distant, almost reverent. They were calling us this. He shook the relic slightly. It isn't stolen. It's been waiting for us. The words settled like stones in their stomach. Atlas wiped sweat from his brow. Okay, I have to ask, does anyone want to address the fact that we look like? He gestured helplessly to all of them. This, for the first time, they would really look at each other. Kedia, in a fitted black and bronze armor, curved sword at her hip. Atlas, in an embroidered tunic with a lead strap across his back. Valley draped in gold threaded scales that shimmer when she moved. A noisy rose of white and indigo relic in hand, looking like he belonged in a mural more than in any modern classroom. Katie tilted her head, smirking despite herself. Well, she said dryly, at least we're hot. That broke the tension for exactly 3 seconds until the jungle went silent. Every bird call, every insect, every whisper of leaves gone. And then came the sound, the chant, not far, not behind them, all around them. Valley grabbed Atlas's arm. They're coming. Now he turned the relic over in his hand, watching as one of them golden veins pulsed brighter than the others. His voice shook as he whispered, "The SunDowners must be fulfilled, and they think we're the ones to do it." Atlas swallowed hard. And what exactly does that mean? Noah gaze cut through the jungle, fixed on a distant glimmer of stone, half swallowed by veins and ruin. It means, he said, we need to find the others, all four fragments, before they do. The ruin was older than anything they had ever seen, older than time itself. Half buried beneath a lattice of strangler figs and flowering veins, it loomed like a forgotten sentinel in the green. Cracked pillars jutted from the earth at impossible angles, covered in creeping moss. The craving nearly worn away by centuries of a rain, a gaping entrance, John, at the center. Why did not to swallow them whole? Yeah, Atlas said, exhaling hard. That doesn't seem safe. Nothing about today screams safe, Katie replied, stepping forward. Her armor made almost no sound, like it had been forged for someone who didn't want to be heard. No, he didn't hesitate. He moved first, relic in hand, as though the ruin had been calling him by name all along. The golden veins in the other fire pulsed brighter with every step he took toward the entrance. Inside, the air was cool and damp, tinged with the coppery smell of water and something older incense, petrichor, maybe even bones. Atlas lit a torch from the scone by the door. It flared to life easily, unnervingly so, like the ruin itself wanted them to see. The interior was breathtaking. An immense circular chamber, its dome ceiling painted with constellations that didn't belong to any night sky they ever known. Along the walls, murals depicting worlds, burning rivers, turning to light, and four faceless figures walking into the blaze unscathed. In the center, stone At the center stood a stone pedestal carved in spirals that mirrored the relic design. Now he approached it slowly, his breath shallow. It's an observatory, he murmured. But it's also a temple, maybe both. The ancient whoever built this map more than the stars. They mapped his trail of staring at the cravings transition. Transition, Villa whispered. No, he pressed the relic against the pedestal. It clicked into place with a low hiss, and suddenly the cravings across the wall lit up with the same golden glow. The sound of rocks sliding against rock echoed as the temple ceiling began to shift and clicked like the ancient puzzle. They all staggered back as the ruin came alive. The constellation shifted, realigning into new patterns. Words appeared across the wall, letters curling into a form in a language that made no sense yet. Noid read it like his first tongue. His lips moved soundlessly at first, then found the words. For shall walk where one, for shall walk where one world dies and another rises. The barrier of the sundown shall stand between the end and the beginning. One hand to destroy, one hand to Restore. Valley voice cracked. Destroy what? Restore what? Noe turned to face them, his face pale. Everything. Before anyone could respond, the ruin itself shuddered. Kita drew her sword. That was not an earthquake. The chanting had returned closer than before. Atlas spun toward the entrance. They follow us. No, Noe said, still staring at the glowing words. They were waiting for us. A shadow fell across the doorway. One of the masked chanters stepped inside, tall enough to bow its head beneath the archway. It didn't raise its step or make its sound. It simply stood there, silent and watching, as if deciding whether they were prey or prophecy. Katia gripped tighten on her weapon. We needed to move now. Noe tore the relic free of the pedestal. It scraped open slowly. The light dimmed, but the golden veins on the artifact stayed bright, brighter than before, like it had been fed by the ruin itself. Move where? Atlas demanded. We don't even know what direction we're. There, Noe pointed. I must have triggered it when I grabbed the skull. The second doorway, hidden until now, ground open with the sound of the stone scraping stone. No, it didn't hesitate. That way, Keria groaned. And we're trusting the magic rock now? We don't have a choice, he shot back. Behind them, the chanting grew louder, and they ran.
Pay attention in class.
For the relic chooses. The hidden corridor stretched deep into the ruins. It was narrowing until the four of them had to move a single file. It smelled of old stone, still water, and the secrets that weren't meant for daylight. At least they emerged into a small chamber, a circular room lined with shallow alcove, each filled with crumbling scrolls and urns carved with the same spiral as the relic. A single skylight cut through the ceiling, casting a pale shaft of light over a low stone table in the center. Safe at least for now. Atlas leaned against the wall, dragging his hands through his hair. Okay, can we just take 5, please? Before my heart explodes. Kata didn't respond. She stood near the doorway, so drawn, keeping her eyes on the corridor they entered through. Valley sank onto the stone table, staring blankly at her hands. This can't be real, she whispered. None of this is real. No, he sat the relic on the table, crouching so the glow lit his face from below. It's real, he said softly, and it's older than anything else I ever studied. This is why we're here. Kayla shot him a look, and what the hell does that mean? Noah traced one of the spiral with his fingertip before he answers. This inscription in the observatory for a short walk where one word dies and another rises. That wasn't metaphorical, literal. This sundowning is an event, a crossing, the end of one age and the birth of another. Atlas barked a sharp, nervous laugh. Great. So we're what, the poster kids from the apocalypse? No, no, he said, his eyes unfocused like he was listening to some unseen voice. We're the ones who decide how it happens. That landed like a stone in water. Valley lifted her gaze, tears glinting in a low light. Decide how? What are we supposed to do? Now he hesitated the phrase after that one hand to destroy, one hand to restore. It means he swallowed. It means that all of us are here to save this world. A chill crawled down Atlas' spine. What are you saying? That one of us. I'm saying, no one to interrupt your voice thick, that whatever this sound downing is, we aren't just observers. We're instruments. One of us, and this is it. If one of us saves it, great. We don't even know each other's name. And you're talking about ending and saving, Atlas moaned. The four of them looked around at each other, then almost sheepishly. For a long moment, no one spoke. Well, I'm Kata, Kata said finally, ending the silence. Her voice low. So which one of us gets to play good? No, he didn't answer. Instead, his hand brushed the relic and it responded. The golden veins flared, then split into four distinct streams of light, each one reaching toward one of them. Atlas, I'm Atlas, Atlas jaw, stumbling back as his light stream touched his chest, and suddenly 1,000 chords of music flooded his mind, melodies of mourning, of battle, of hope. He gasped, clutching at his shirt with a rose hand. Clutching at his shirt with one hand, his glasses with the other. Yeah, I'm tired. Valley light wrapped around like wrist as she felt warmth like sunlight sinking into her bones, breaking with a sharp, strange clarity. She looked at everyone. Valley, I came here to be an English teacher. Kitted light struck like a blade to the heart, painful, electric, burning with purpose she didn't want but couldn't refuse. Inoi, his light didn't touch him. It sank into the relic itself, merging, binding him to it like the two were one. Noi knows I was here to collect research for an article on antiquities, not to actually fall into a mystery surrounding them. The glow faded, and his voice came out shaky. Okay. Someone explain what the hell happened here. Okay, someone explain what the hell just happened. No, you look at them, his eyes holding their attention now. It's assigning us roles for the shadowing. Very lips tremble. Which one of us? No, it didn't meet her gaze, and I don't know. The ruin shuddered. Kitty tightening her grip on her sword. They coming back. Nari grabbed the relic. Its glow now fainted by pulling like a compass toward the far wall where a narrow slit opened to the jungle beyond. David, don't say, he said. The next fragment is out there. If we're going to survive this, if we're going to stop them, we need all of them. Atlas grims. And what happens when we do? No, I stare at the glowing veins. Then we find out which one us and the world. They didn't stop moving. The jungle closed around them like a living thing. Every vine, grasping hand. Every root a snare. The air was suffocating, wet, buzzing with unseen insects and heavy with the smell of overripe fruit decay, something sharp and metallic that made Katia keep her hand on her sword. The relic guided them, its veins glowing faintly, Noah's grip tugging towards some unseen points beyond trees. Atlas trudged behind him, sweat dripping into his eyes. This is insane, he muttered. We should be in a hostel, drinking cheap beer, not auditioning for the end times. Peter glanced back at him. You want to go back? Be my guest. Go back where? Valley asked softly. Her voice carried a brittle edge. There's no back anymore. They fell silent at that because she was right. The forest thickened, the path narrowing to a tangle of roots and ferns. Strange carvings appear on the trees, spiraling symbols like the relics glowing faintly as if the jungle itself recognized them. Atlas shivered. Someone want to tell me why the trees are staring at us? They're not staring, no, he said, though his voice betrayed no real certainty. They're making the edge. They're making the path. Marking it for what? Riley asked. He didn't answer. 5. The Waterfall Grotto. Hours blurred until the sun sank low, bathing the world in blood orange and violet. Finally, they reached a clearing where a crumbled stone archway rose from the underground. It was another ruin, smaller than the last, but pulsing with the same quiet energy. The relic flared. This is it. No, he said, approaching the archway, his finger tracing inscriptions along the space, words blooming in his mind like they'd been waiting for him. When the sun drowns. When the sun drowns and the two worlds bleeds, the barriers must choose which one to save. Atlas froze. Wait, two worlds? No, he nodded slowly, the meaning hitting him like a blow. Not just this one, ours. Kid jaw tightened. You're saying when this sundowning happens, one world lives, Noise said, and one dies. The silence that followed was suffocating. Belly hands shook, so we're supposed to choose who gets to survive, them or us? Before anyone could respond, the forest answered. A low bone deep hum rippled through the ground, vibrating up their legs. Bird burst from the trees in a flurry of wings. The air grew colder, unnaturally so. Atlas whispered, please tell me that's not what I think it is. The chanting returned closer. Kata drew her sword. They're tracking us. Noise eye darted to the glowing veins of relic. No, they're hurting us. Atlas swallowed toward one. They hung because of scream, a high unnatural wail that made her teeth ache, and from between the trees the masked chanters emerged. But these weren't the same as before. The masks were creek faces beneath them, sliding in and out of focus like candle flames in the wind. Their bodies twisted unnaturally as they moved, no longer just raw guardians, but something caught between the living and dead. Valley choked on her breath. Oh my god, they're not human. Kiria stepped in front of them, blade raised. No, tell me you've got a plan. He clutched the relic's heart pounding as it glowed brighter than it ever had before. I do, he said, voice shaking. Run. They ran. Roots snagged their feet, branches clawed their face. The jungle turned at them like it wanted to keep them for itself. The chanting stayed behind them, but not far enough. The unholy harmony echoing through the trees. Weaving in and out of the night air like a predator's breath, the relic burned in Noah's grip, pulling him forward like a leash. This way, he shouted, voice raw. Katia stayed at the back, sword ready, turning every few steps to make sure the masked figures were in close the distance. Keep moving, don't stop. Alice gasped for air, muscles screaming, where are we even going? I don't know, Noah admitted, but it wants us there. Riley nearly stumbled over a root. Atlas catching her before she fell. It wanted us there, she panted. You're letting the death rock make the decision now? Kata barked a humorless laugh. Get a better idea? The ground beneath them slapped. The ground beneath them sloped sharply downward in the hum. The forest giving way to a new sound, a deep thunderous roar that grew louder with every step. Unless I waited. Oh, hell no. The tree opened up into a clearing and they saw a waterfall so massive it seemed to split the world in half. The moonlight turned the cascading sheets of water a light into a living silver curtain, mist rising in the plumes that glitter like stars. The relic pulled dragged Noe toward the very edge of the cliff. You gotta be kidding me, Kata said, skidding to a step just shy of the drop. She peered over and saw nothing but blackness, endless and merciless. We can't go back, Noe shuddered, his voice cracking. Great, Alice wheezed, throwing his arms up. We can't go forward either unless one of us can fly. The chanting grew louder, impossibly loud. Shapes emerged from the tree line. The chanters stepped into the clearing mass of gleaming in the moonlight. Their movements jerky and inhuman as they formed a slow, deliberate half circle. Pounding the long pikes against the earth in unison, boom, 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 the spears still glinting in the glow of a blue moon. Rally back toward the edge, trembling. What do they want from us? Noah gripped tightening on the bullet, the veins of gold flaring so bright they hurt to look at. He looked over the cliff again and for the first time saw what was below, not death. A pool, a massive one, carved into the earth like an ancient basin, glowing faintly with the same golden light as the relic. His swallow was hard. They don't want to kill us, Kira growled. You keep saying that doesn't make me feel better. They want us to jump. Sentence. Atlas blinked. Excuse me? No, he turned to face them. They were like, like, and leaving their heart in his hands. This is it. This is where it's leading us. The pool is part of it. The fragments, the shadowing. We need to go. Katie's mouth fell open. You lost your mind. The chanters raised their pikes. The forest screamed. Nori made Katie's eyes desperation plants on his face. We don't have time to argue. Atlas staggered toward the edge, peering over. That's a hell of a drop, man. He done look. No voice shook about his gaze. Didn't waver. Trust me. The chanters let out a single unified wail and lunge. Kata cursed under her breath. I hated this. And before she could talk to herself out of it, she grabbed Valley's arm, shoved Atlas forward, and leaped. For one endless heartbeat, there was only air mixed with damp mist that rose from the rush of water, and it roared, careening over the cliff's edge, its force drawing them with it. Then impact. The water swallowed them shockingly, warm, wrapping them in its glowing depths. The noise of the jungle, the chanting, the fear, all gone. In the silence, the relics sang. The water didn't feel like water, it felt unnatural, so like stepping into a blood that had been kissed by the sun. It didn't burn, it didn't sting, it cratered them, held them suspended as if gravity had lost its claim. Atlas was the first to surface with a gasp, but his voice died in his throat. There was no sky, no waterfall above them. They floated in a vast underground grotto, a cathedral carved by years of rushing waters. Against crack in earth is sitting lost in shadows. Faint glow light pulsed from beneath the water, matching the rhythm of the relic in Noah's hand. Where are we? Valley whispered, his voice reverent. Kata scanned the dark edge of the cavern, hands still on sword. I settle for why. The force of the water must have pushed us here, Noe breathlessly whispered, and the relic answered in agreement. It began to sing, not with the sound, but with their vibration that sank into their bones, harmonizing with their heartbeats until they couldn't tell where the ending and the relic began. Noise stiffened, eyes wide as the water around them stirred with golden light stressed upward, rising like a glowing vine, wrapping around each of them in turn. And then the vision one came. Oh my god, too much reading. Six Pilgrims of Stones. Actually, I'm gonna make this a two-part. I'm gonna start at chapter 10 and then continue on part 2 of the video. So bear with me, guys. Another video is coming out after this one. Six Pilgrims of Stones. Atlas closed his eyes and swallowed hard. The glow engulfed him first, and suddenly he wasn't in the water. He stood on the battlefield of ash and bone, his hand on the strings of his lute, but every note he played brought life or death to those around him. A thousand faces turned to him, some worshipping, some cursing his name. A voice sang out to him, the one who binds, the song bearer, you carried the choice of hearts. Ready let her body relax and melted into the warmth. The water around her bloomed with flowers, jasmine, marigold vines that burst from the ground as she touched them. But with each bloom came a creeping shadow, devouring everything she created. The voice whispered, the one who restores the life bringer, but restoration requires sacrifice. Katie found herself somewhere completely different. She stood in a temple lit by fire, her sword dripping with blood that returned to gold as it hit the floor. A thousand voices screamed her name, not in fear but in awe. Her voice echoed, the one who destroys the blade of SunDowners to end its begins. No, it was nowhere, and everywhere adrift, floating in an endless void. The relic fused to his chest, light bleeding through his skin. Constellations burned and dried in his hands. A voice of warning bled into his mind. The one who decides the relic was chosen. You are a scale upon which you must hang. Those surfaced at one, gasping, coughing, thrashing against the weight of what they had just seen. What the hell was that? Alice put her voice cracking. No, Relic whispered, clutching her head. No, 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 no. Kitty stared at her hands, trembling. That wasn't a dream. Noe floated silently, his grip white knuckle on the relic. He felt its veins pulse against his skin like a second heartbeat. The sound downing, he said softly, the voice breaking. That's what it is. It's a crossing. One world dies, one world rises, and he trailed off, staring at them with a hollow expression. We're the ones who decide which. Before anyone could respond, the relic tugged sharply, its glow intensifying, pointing toward a dark tunnel. Thank you so much, Wendy Wolf, for reading, for for giving me a taste of the book, of your first season book. And I hope you guys like this video. Subscribe for more. I'm going to reread. I'm going to read Chapter 6 Party tomorrow, Monday at uh 1 p.m. Eastern time. Not 1 p.m. Eastern time. At 3:30 Eastern time. So hope you guys like this video and subscribe for more. Bye bye guys. I love you guys so much. Bye bye. Thank you so much, Wendy Wolf.